Mm-hmm.
Are we offline?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not offline.
There we go. Now we're live. That's fun.
Yay.
Okay, so back to ZBrush land for me today. This is the male head sculpt, and this is the one that Alex did the sculpt over or sculpt under of mine, really, because it ended up being significantly smaller. And so what I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to leave his model in here, and then I'm going to adjust my silhouette to match the proportions of what he did in his adjustments, and then go through and start tweaking the placement and setting better landmarks for myself and fixing some of the crustiness. And I think Alex is going to do something equally interesting today.
Yeah, so I kind of took my sculpt to the level where I'm happy with it as a whole. But what I want to do today is I have several of those, 1024 high resolution 3D scans of like real human faces. So I want to bring some of them in and use them as a reference to really study the surface of the human face and adjust my landmarks and make them a little bit more realistic, because right now it's still pretty non-realistic. So yeah, currently I'm just digging through my hard drive trying to find where all my 3D scans stored, so I'll let Tom lead the stream. So one thing that I'm thinking, looking at you do this, I think for the first time it might be it might be fine to just, you're basically tracing over the existing sculpt. But down the road we are gonna take the safety wheels off and have it, like, instead of you aligning the two heads together, we are gonna have them side by side, and I want you to really kind of look at the landmarks and try to copy them by looking at them, as opposed to just trying to match the two models together. But, yeah, but because you're still like trying to get more comfortable with ZBrush, that's totally fine.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking about moving it aside after I do this silhouette adjustment.
Okay. What subdivision level are you in? Because right now it looks like you're trying to shape okay. Yeah, let's say your resolution is the easiest to make big form changes. I also noticed that you're using the UI groups in ZBrush, which, even though it does organize things better, it adds an additional click to any task that you do.
I'm just waiting on that video from you for customizing the UI.
Yeah, right. That was supposed to be when? Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do that tonight. I promise. I'll actually add it to my to-do list. But before I do that, where the hell are my scans? Projects. Scan ref. There you are. So, quick save just to be certain. God damn it. Okay. I'm just gonna move my ZBrush to the screen and get all my scans in. so unprepared. And you don't need to kind of like use move brush for everything, or like some like smaller surface changes. It's easier to just hold a shift and smooth them out. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
In order to switch between subtools, you can just alt-click on a subtool. And then your other one is hidden, so yeah.
Oh, this is a long way off.
It's fine. You'll do great.
Mhm.
How does it feel, Tom?
Hard.
Alright, I got my 3D scans assembled, so let's take a look at what we have here. Just moving my screen over. So here's one of the 1024 3D scans. This one is actually comes with full color, but we don't care about that. We just want to get the sculpt. So some really nice surface details there. We also have a high resolution scan here. Then there is this guy, which is more low res, but still pretty good for reference. And then Hey, that's Tom's sculpt over. So let's start. Let's go to. So this is my guy, and then I'm gonna add the scans in here as subtools so I can really look at them. This guy, it's not as quite as dense as the other version of him, so let's do that. So I'm going here, and then I'm appending. I'm this subtool append. I think this guy. Now let's just make sure that the scale matches. It doesn't. We're inside of this guy's chin. So I'm just gonna do unify and their deformation unify, and it kind of scales it to the ZBrush optimum size. And I can now move it off to the side. One thing I like about this in particular is the neck. My neck, I feel, still is fairly weak. So let's grab this guy's head. Delete hidden. And don't I have like a unify button here? I don't. What a shame. Unify. Okay, and then there was a third one, this guy. We could literally just select this part. There's quite a few subdivision levels here. Let's see. That's good enough. So delete lower, delete higher, delete hidden, and then bend. Unify, rotate 180, not this way. Ooh, I should use this as a video thumbnail. How creepy is that, Tom?
What's that?
How creepy is that?
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
I know. Oh well. Alright, so rotate on y-axis 180 degrees. Bam. Alright, so we have quite a few references, so let's start looking closely. First of all, neck, like I said, is one of my the parts that I'm not happy with. So what can we do here? I'm gonna grab a clay brush and drop down the Z intensity to something quite low. And then we're gonna start building up those neck muscles. And add in a little bit more of a organic folds. Another thing I'm noticing is that the whole section can go a little bit down lower. Using mask lasso, let's make a nice organic selection, and I think I'm gonna shorten the neck just a tiny bit.
When you place that cylinder, I don't have the video in front of me. Did you? Was it sticking out of the mouth, or did you leave it behind the mouth?
Behind the mouth.
Okay.
I mean, depending on where, like, your lips right now look like they go pretty far in.
No, I need to push them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be right up there, right?
Yeah, I was placing the cylinder where I think the teeth should be in the sculpt, in the sculpt. Yeah.
And it shouldn't be straight up and down either, right?
No. Oh, great, ZBrush crashed.
Okay, and then what do we do? We do poly groups, right? Auto group or group masked. What is it?
What are you trying to do?
Where you split the cylinder into a subtool.
Just Control-Shift click it, and then split hidden. It's under subtool. Yeah, you do need a freaking custom interface. This takes too long, dude. We'll build one for ya. Okay, let's see if my... I hope my 3D scans are in here. And remind me to delete the undo history, because this is out of control. Okay, sharing your screen for the time being. So one thing for right off the bat is the eyes are a little bit too wide and they need to go deeper into the skull. And then the nose could be narrower.
eyes need to go back further and the nose can be narrower. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, so under belief edits, see I have 2000 file, almost 3K of undos. I'm gonna delete undo history. And now it's gonna open faster. And for fun fact, all my 3D scans are gone, so sucks to be me. Let's reopen it, but instead of wasting your time, I'm just gonna add the one that I was using at the time being, and then just add them as I go. Base mesh. I think that's the one. Okay, that's good. Fine. Okay, so let's continue. Neck smaller, shorter. With move, let's this is essentially what I'm doing right now. This is what I want you to do once you get more comfortable. Is basically look and compare and really try to see the kind of the shape, the form, and break it down and sculpt it yourself.
Working on it, boss.
And with clay, we're gonna push this muscle in. The neck feels quite square right now. This is struggle real.
It is.
Need my help?
I don't know. I'm just trying to move around.
Okay, so can you zoom out and look at it in a profile? So you can't really place the mouth without seeing where the eyes are or the rest of the head. And it seems like you're just kind of zooming in and moving it around and trying to get the feel for it. So let's look at it from the side. In here, the most important part is the depth, right? How far the teeth in relation to the eyes. So right now, eyes, they feel like they're fairly far out, which is fine. We can adjust the nose to kind of stick out and do all these tweaks as we go. Now, where are your teeth?
I was in the middle of trying to figure that out.
Okay. Well, I'm asking where they are right now. So let's. Yeah. Okay. That's better. So I would say a little bit. Put them a little bit in. Or to the left in a screen space. Yeah. So that's fine. That's a good start. And like I said before, we can kind of tweak them as we go. If you remember, I changed like placement of my eyes like 20 times.
Yep. And I moved mine just now too. I don't know if that.
Yeah. So eyes. Yeah. Let's just push them in a little bit as well. Yeah, that's good. So now let's look at the mouth area. If you click on that mouth. Okay, let's look at it from the front. So what we want to do is create this kind of a ball shape where the muscles of the mouth wrap around and create like the lips, right? So let's, with the mask tool, let's mask the entire kind of the lips area. And you probably want a slightly smaller brush so you don't have nose selected. Yeah, slightly more. Okay, so now blur it and invert it, and from the side view, let's push it out. And you can adjust the... Okay, so this is better. Now let's look at it from the front. Okay, so now let's mask the lower lip, or unmask it all, and then mask just the lower lip. And with that mask, let's... you don't need that really.
Yeah.
With that mask, let's grab a large move brush and adjust the kind of the overhang and the corners of the mouth, right? Because the lower lip would be slightly above, and then you can create the shape. Somebody, like my neighbors, are drilling something or doing vacuum cleaning. I don't know. It just sounds terrible. So if you invert now, invert your mask. And look at it from underneath. You can adjust the shape and tuck that lip a little bit in. Yeah, that's better. And now if you look at it from the front and then mask, you can use a large move brush to kind of narrow the mouth a little bit, because right now it's very wide. Yeah, just push them closer to the front. Oh. Yeah, and you want to avoid that kind of sloping sad face shape. So maybe move the corners of the mouth slightly up. So you can see this is kind of a very base for the start of the mouth, and we can adjust, add more form to it after. Now. We need to repeat the same process for the eyes, because it's essentially the same thing. And make sure that we have, if you look at it from 3/4, we make sure that there is a clear definition where eyebrow ridge is and where the cheekbone. Yeah, so we have that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And once you're done with that, maybe refine ears a bit, and then we can subdivide it or redynamesh it at a higher resolution and go to the next step. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to make a natural look in neck. So just using a clay brush, stroking into the direction of the texture. to kind of build up a very basic texture.
So Shamaz asked a question in the chat. Are you making these for a specific project or just to practice sculpting heads? Basically, it's just practicing sculpting.
Yeah.
As you can kind of tell, I'm just learning or relearning sculpting and learning ZBrush for real this time instead of self-taught sketching.
Yeah, and there's nothing, like, in my opinion, human faces is kind of the best way to learn ZBrush. At least that's how I learned it. Because, well, if there's something wrong with a human face, you can instantly tell, hey, this guy looks ugly. And it is very unforgiving, but it forces you to really focus on your form and try to see what's going on. As opposed to, a very natural tendency is, to sculpt like a badass looking monster with like 5 rows of teeth and giant horns, which is cool, and like you can definitely learn the tool this way, but it's not gonna force you pay attention to your the quality of your sculpt, because you're gonna be like, there's no demons in real world. Like, we don't see them on daily basis, so it's very easy to kind of miss out on some of the smaller plane changes and that type of stuff. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Tom?
That made sense to me.
Okay, good.
Although here again, I'm doing the work.
So yeah, I'm forcing Tom to sculpt heads, and he didn't want to, and now he really enjoys it. Right, Tom?
Yeah. Right.
Right? You really enjoy it? Tell everyone how much you really enjoy it.
I don't really enjoy it, but I do appreciate Alex making me do it. So that doesn't look like yours, but it's got the right shape.
Let me see.
I think the lower lids are way too far out.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just a start. So let's look at it from 3/4. Yeah, that's fine. One thing that I feel like there's... Can you unmask it? Yeah. And you can probably get rid of the transparency thing. Yeah, that's better. So right now, the chin is a little bit too kind of flat and pointy. There's under the nose, there's a lot of kind of like the cavities there. We can fill them in, and also kind of this the side of the cheek mass, kind of where your cheeks are. Basically, we could build those up a bit. I don't know what's the best way to show it to you. If you were draw a mask from the corner of the nose and to the cheek, I don't know how to do it. Actually, yeah, let's do like position the camera in 3/4, and I'll quickly jump into Photoshop and do a quick paint over. 1 sec. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so do you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So first thing I would do is create a mask with this shape.
Okay.
Right, and
yep. And pull
pull it out to create this kind of the cheek weight. Then we create a second mask, sort of like this, and make sure that this is a well-established plane, right? So there's no like cavities there. Next thing that we can do is, you know, kind of sort of like this.
Pull that out.
Yeah.
Yep, got it.
And then, you know, the rest is kind of just connect the dots. Now, in terms of this, like this shape, like this over part looks fine. And once you pull this part out, you're gonna have a nicer definition here, which is what's currently missing and makes him look like a old man.
Yep.
Something like this.
What would be the right tool for that?
Mask and just move brush. And you can also smooth out that area around the nose just to have a more straighter. Yeah, see, looking at it in 3/4, it starts to feel more like
human.
Yeah. And your mask, I would refine it a bit because it's very blurry in the upper lip area, and you want that clear kind of the fold. And yeah, it's time to go up in subdivisions and resolution. Yeah, much better. And you can use damp standard.
It's kind of got that.
Yeah.
Say again?
You can use damp standard to refine that fold because it kind of got blurred a little bit there.
Here?
Yeah, exactly. Just drop down the Z intensity because it can be a little bit too much.
But you don't have any there. It's not what we're talking about. We're talking about this right here. Yeah, dude, you need more resolution. Alright, so neck, I'm a little bit more happy with it now. Just on the silhouette more. So let's look at the lips. Currently we're not too defined there, so I'm gonna move it slightly closer so I can see them side by side. I use damp standard a lot for like adding this type of details. What's interesting is that there's like a peak and a valley there. So what if I used a standard brush to build this large shape? And then we'll do it here.
And maybe a good thing to use here is the brush mod. So if I press B, there's this brush modifier. If you crank it up to 100, it's gonna pinch like this. So instead of 100, let's give it like 29 or something. And then intensity at like something much lower. Shamaz is asking about Discord. We have the Discord set up. We are basically doing a trial, seeing what works better. But last few days were pretty quiet, so I don't know. Eventually, I think Discord would probably make a lot of sense to transition to, because their voice chats is pretty good.
So that feels like it's looking 300% better than it did 20 minutes ago.
It's getting there. Now let's.
Me, I don't know. You're going to look at it and you say, well, based on my skill level, your skill level, you're going to make this assessment. But for me, like I can feel
the power.
I don't feel like I'm just pushing points around anymore. I feel like I'm actually
doing the
like I can see that there's a direction. There's a direction that I'm moving in.
Yeah. So let's add some resolution. Did you add resolution?
I tried to crank it up here, but
and
256 now.
That's probably a little bit too dense even, but okay. So
it wasn't changing it. It wasn't doing any.
Oh, you might have had like. Can you go back? Maybe you had like some little piece of a mask, so it wasn't. It was just unmasking instead of dynameshing. Let's try like 180 or something, or 200.
Okay, that did it.
Okay. So, I think at this point, what would be cool is if you focused on one kind of part at a time. Like start with the mouth and just try to get mouth to the same level of quality that I have it there. And like, can you look at my screen for a sec? So with the mouth, what you want to do is you want to have this like a flying bird shape. So a bird flying. These are wings, and this is the bird. Get it? It's a flying bird. And then the bottom lip is like just two of these kind of connected. So that's a mouth in a nutshell. And then once you have these basic shapes, you can adjust them and move them around to make it look natural. But that's how I generally start, just kind of one stroke here, a little dab here, another stroke here, and then two strokes there.
Cool. All right. That will be my thing for next time, is to focus on.
Okay. Do you need to
just
go
one area? Yeah, it's noon. Yeah, I gotta get ready for my presentation.
Okay. So, all right, guys. Well, I haven't had a chance to sculpt a lot, but we're gonna continue.
You can keep going if you. I mean, I just gotta drop off as well.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll do another 10 minutes and then I have work to do myself.
Cool. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Alex.
See you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. So using this reference, I'm just kind of matching some of the details, and I'm not necessarily going for likeness. I don't want to copy this sculpt exactly. It's still gonna look like the head that I've sculpted. But I'm copying some of the, more of a smaller details to give it a more realistic look. And then we can, later on, we're gonna drop the symmetry and make it asymmetrical to push that aspect further. So with them standard. Just refining it slightly. And then I'm gonna mask this part. And then let's try inflating it. Having a little bit of a struggle here. So what I see here is like a much more defined the cheekbone, and here I kind of have like a very I don't have a clear definition for it. So let's do something about it. So I'm masking this shape. And then using move, we're gonna define a better cheekbone. I can also just use inflate. Alright, and this is too much right now, but we're gonna smooth it out. I also build up too much of that mask here on the side, so I'm just gonna flatten it a bit. I like to sculpt, like if I have 4 subdivision layers, a lot of times instead of sculpting on layer number 4 and creating these really sharp details, I would go to layer 2 to sculpt a softer form. And then when I go to layer 4, it's instead of it being super sharp, it's actually kind of more smoothed out. So using subdivision levels to my advantage here. And I'm not going super crazy on little wrinkles, because for that I'm gonna disable symmetry and sculpt them without symmetry. Once again, lower, crank up the intensity. Another thing that I like about this sculpt is that the eyelid mass, I didn't build mine out quite enough, I feel. What I could do here is use inflate. And then use move. Since I already redynameshed it, and like I'm not going to be redynameshing it again, now it's safe to do this without being afraid of parts being merged. Also, I just realized that I'm not on Twitch, so in case if you guys are asking questions, give me 1 second. Okay, so the shape of the lower lip is rather artificial feeling. So you can see there's a little bit of pinching happening. I don't want that. So using inflate, I'm giving him better form of the lips. A little bit too much. And I ruined it. Let's rebuild this. With lips, it helps to do something like this, to just grab a lower lip and create a separate polygroup for it, so it's easier to select it when you need to. Okay, so selecting the jaw and pressing Ctrl W, and now we can do modifications to it without the upper lip getting in the way. my eyes are pointing outward a little bit too much. So let's rotate them in. Just making sure the pivot is in the right location. Okay, that's fine. So I think I'm gonna call it a day. One thing that I'm noticing is that my ears might be a little bit too large still, but we can resolve it down the road. So if you look at it before, you can see he's still feeling very generic, and then using a 3D scan as a reference, we started building it up to be a little bit more realistic. And there's still tons of work to do, but we're gonna get there in time. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and Shamaz, I'm done. Thanks a lot for being here, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.